so last time we just saw how Agent Builder is working, right? Like we just tried to put like a like a document. We just tried to upload the document over there, and then we were able to get answers from that agent, right? So I will today teach you like how what is the process that goes on, because during interviews what happens is like, okay, they will understand that you're getting to understand the point of like how to create a chatbot and all of that, but they would ask you deep meanings of why a particular thing, why did you use a certain tool, or why did you use that. So you will have to answer all of that. So what I will uh, cover today will be like completely theoretical, and I will try to show you a few things, but this is very important for you to understand, and for you to like make better decisions in future when you're creating like better projects, right? So I'll just go ahead and start. So we have established the fact that agent builders are basically like a tool to create like chatbot agents in an easier way, or a search agent in a very easier way. But then we will have to understand the underlying part of what is happening, right? So that is the main thing. So even if you're creating and like without even any code, like low code or anything, or with completely, if you're a developer and you're developing everything from scratch using API, you should be able to understand what is going on within the within the structure, right? So I'll just tell you what basic RAG architecture is, right? So basically, even I'll just go like very briefly so that you will understand like what happens in the background. So basically, whenever you give a structured data or an unstructured data, right? How it's not like it will understand straight up English. So for it to get that contextual understanding, it basically they work in a way where they have something called as vector databases, where all the like all the sentences that we provide will be segregated into small words or small sentences or small, you know, small documents, and they will be stored in these vector databases, right? So no, whatever you give, like unstructured or structured data, first they will be converted into small chunks, which is basically whenever you hear something called as chunking, that's the same thing. So what is chunking is simply like if there's a huge data, if there's a huge data like 15-20 pages or 100-200 pages of PDF files, it will chunk the data into small files so that it will be better, it will be understood better. So these small files, one by one, will be um, will be termed as embeddings, right? So all these small chunks, in that the sentences will be more segregated into something called as embeddings or vectors. So all these vectors, what they will do is, this is a multi-dimensional data where a particular vector will be placed in such a way that it will have a contextual understanding. Like it has to differentiate between when something is used as a verb or a noun, right? So in that case, in that case, the vector database helps a lot, and also gets to the contextual understanding point. So then what happens is basically whenever you give a data, right? So particularly when you give some uh, 20 to 25 pages of PDF files. First, it will chunk the data into small data, like, chunk the whole PDF file into small files. And then these small files will be further segregated into vectors, and they'll be stored in vector databases. And now what happens is, whenever you send a question, that particular question will also be converted into vectors, and then they perform a similarity test where they will from the data set that you have already created, from the database that you have already created, it will use a cosine similarity or any similarity algorithm that you're providing, and it will retrieve the data in vector format. This vector format data will be again converted into converted into small files, and from this small files is where the response will be generated, right? So this is how the simple RAG architecture works. So what happens? It's basically like, first, when just like a summary, when you give a data, it will convert into small chunks. These chunks will be again further converted into small sections called vectors, and these will be stored in a database. Now, when you provide a question, this question will also be converted into vectors, and a similarity will a cosine similarity will happen, so that these two so that it will retrieve the answers based on it will retrieve the most like closer answer based on the results that it will get, and that particular vectors will again be converted into small documents and given as a response to us. So this is how a simple RAG architecture works. Now, when it comes to Vertex AI, so there are a couple of, I like I mentioned that it can be a structured data, it can be an unstructured data, it can be any kind of data, right? So when it comes to Vertex AI Agent Builder, they particularly have different kind of parsers for different kinds of data, which will be almost mentioned in the agent also, but while building the agent, but it is better for us to understand, right? So what are parsing techniques is basically whatever we are trying to do here, right? This is all called parsing techniques itself, right? So converting some kind of data into the required kinds of data, like converting this kind of data, like structured or unstructured data, which is human understandable, converting them into computer understandable or algorithm understandable data is what parsing techniques is where parsing techniques come into picture, right? So there are three kinds of parsing techniques that is given by uh, Vertex AI Agent Builder. What are these? Are digital parsers, layout parsers, and OCR parsers. So when do you have to use digital parsers is basically, for example, let's say if you have like a document or like a PDF. So these are unstructured files, right? So these kind of files like HTML files. So for these kind of files, you can use digital parser. So basically, these are completely unstructured data. You cannot put them into any kind of tables or anything. So all these kinds of data you can use digital parser. For layout parser, so say if you have data in tables or in a format where it is completely structured, especially like tables or CSV files, you can use layout parsers. So layout parsers is much faster than digital parsers because everything is completely structured, when it comes to JSON files or even these tables where you have key and values. Over there you can use layout parsers, and these are much faster compared to digital parser. So in digital parser you can use any kind of data like PDF or even all the text files that you have or HTML files or documents. You can use it over here. Even if there is pictures over there, it will still try to in digital parser it will still try to convert them, but sometimes it might make mistakes. So to avoid those mistakes, we can even use OCR parsers. So OCR parsers, when it comes to OCR parsers, it's basically like, say if you have you'll have a lot of the data where you'll have a photo, and the photo will have the the text formats, right? So all of these kind of photos can be provided and can be used can be segregated and can be made into vectors using OCR parser. So what does OCR parser does is it will basically extract the data from the photos and then perform chunking techniques to it. So in this way, we need to understand which parser is better for what, right? There is some, so in the Vertex AI section, wherever you're trying to use these parsing techniques, you will also find a place where you'll also find a place where you can add multiple parsers according to the files that you have. For example, if you have a PDF, right? So when you have a PDF and it has both pictures and text, right? So now you need to use digital parser and OCR parser. But you need to make sure that you give priority to one kind of parser. For example, I have a PDF document which has a lot of text, but in between I have photos also, which also should be used for my use, for my case. So what I will do, I will prioritize it as digital parser, but then as an exception I add the OCR parser also, so that whenever it has a difficulty to use the digital parsing technique, it will use OCR parsing techniques and perform its actions for photo based photo based data. So this is how parsing techniques work, right? So like I mentioned, like chunking is basically separating huge documents into small pieces, which is uh, further sent to convert them into vectors, right? Now we'll see more components of agent builder that we need to know before we create, before we start building building full-fledged conversational agents, right? So like I mentioned before, this is the agent that we created last time. So I will get to the parser part later, but like for now, I will show you how the agent, how you can modify the agent, and what are the tools that you can use to make sure you create a completely fully conversational agents, right? Sometimes there might be a place where you want to control the control the responses and all of that. So there are certain tools that you can use and perform them, right? So over here, if you see in conversational agents, one second. Uh, okay, so here, if you see, there are a certain tools that you can see here, right? So over here, you can see something called as playbooks, right? So what are these playbooks? Are basically these playbooks are very important when it comes when if you use multiple tools, right? So how do you? So what playbooks does is, say if you have like multiple documents, right? So you're creating separate tools for separate documents, right? And if you want to connect all of these documents together, you can use something called as playbooks. So in what you do in this playbooks is basically you will have, say if you have like a a photosynthesis playbook or something. See, for now these might won't work, but I'll just theoretically tell what they do so that you will understand them better. So I will just put like photosynthesis playbook, okay? And then I will have like an example, like see how it works. So I'll give a similar, in this particular stuff you can literally give like this, right? Help customers book flights and hotels. This is basically us providing like a goal, like a structure uh, to the playbook, to the agent, right? So what is this goal, what are you trying to do here? So what are you trying to do here? Help students understand about photosynthesis. So you're setting a context here, right? So you can set contexts like this, and then you can go here in the instructions, and you can tell what the playbook has to do. Like for example, here as they have given it here, we can do the same thing. Like greet the users and ask how can you help. It's basically us providing prompts. So if they say photosynthesis, use tool, and then you can give similar to this, right? You can just if you want to add, I'll show you how to add tools further. You can just add like the dollar sign, and then you can give the playbook like the tool name, okay, like this. Okay, let's since I've not created the photosynthesis tool, it might not come. Let's just put code itself. So if they say something like this, you can say you can use this tool, and then and you can create multiple tools like this, and then you can tell like if they say photosynthesis, use this tool. So you can put like that, right? Let's just put it for now, and then we'll go and create the tool. And then we can uh, save this playbook. Okay. Okay, it's not. Okay, let's just leave this for now. So we can do this. Now, since we saved this, we'll go back and we'll create a tool. So what does a tool mean? Basically, remember that we created a data store, right? So in tool, what you can do is you can create. So basically, what this tool do is it will be like a place where the data store can be stored, like kept. For example, this tool uses this data store, and you can keep this tool to that particular data store, and this particular tool will only work for that particular data store. For example, if I am into science, if I'm creating a complete huge science bot agent, okay, so now I have one topic called photosynthesis. Now I have one topic called say precipitation or life cycle of a growth of a tree or something. So I have like 2 to 3 documents like that, and I want to make sure that there are separate tools for separate document. And whenever I should be able to navigate from one tool to another. So then these tools will be very important, because now what are you creating is the amount of data stores you created, the agent won't get confused, because you're telling the agent to go to that specific tool and answer from that tool only, right? So now I'll just create photosynthesis tool here. And then we'll have 3 types, right? So we can connect the data through open API, through functions and the data stores. Like we saw before when we were creating data stores, right? Over there also we had this option of creating open API and data store and through functions and all of that, right? It's the similar way. So I'll just add a data store, and then I'll provide description to it. Okay. And then now I'll add the data store here. Let's see. Now the tool has been saved successfully, right? So now once this tool has been created, I can use this photosynthesis tool in the playbooks. Now I can go and I can actually use some settings here also. So if there is any speech related, like if there are any speech related agents that you're creating, you can go and you can create you can go and you can create them in agent level settings also, which we can find them, right over here. It will show you what flow, if you're clicking on flow, then it will go in the rule based format. If you put playbook, it will go on the generative AI based format. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, so if you go to settings here, and then so in that same way, if you're using playbook, you can do it like a playbook format. If you are using flow based, you can use a based format. If you want to enable conversational histories, for example, if you want to save all the conversations that you have already you have done with the chat, right? So you can enable the conversation history, so that it'll save all the conversations. So you can see something called as parameter relation and all of that, right? So basically, if you want some parameter to not be shown in that conversational history, you can even switch them on. And in the generative AI format, you can like use any kind of agents. Like right now, it has Gemini 1.5 Flash, right? So we can use any of these agents that we want, and then we can set the token limits, how much tokens that it needs to use, and all of that, right? So in the flows also, like you can go and you can add if you want like an advanced NLU type, or if you want like a standard NLU type, and what threshold do you need, and all of that, right? We can go more further about this. So if you like, there are a lot of settings that you can do to improve your agent and make it as conversational as possible. So basically here you can see something called as spell correction, right? So if you allow this, even if the user is typing typing spelling mistakes, it'll be able to understand, and it will give us the like you know it'll just connect to any intents if it has to, right? So depending upon the threshold that we are providing, it will be as random as possible. So if you give like a very less threshold, like point 0.2 or point 0.1, even if the user is making a lot of spelling mistakes, it will try to connect it to any kind of intent and give the answers. So if you keep the threshold high, then it will make sure that it matches to exact that intent. If it is not matched, then it will give no match intents and all of that, right? So also in this way, you have a lot of settings over here that you can create. So now we went like a little off topic, but we'll go back to create like what are the main components of this, right? So, so I have taught you what playbooks are. Basically, to summarize, playbooks are like these small tools that you can create from where you can navigate from one particular tool to another particular tool. Like if you have, say, 10 agents, right? So, sorry, 10 documents. You can create different tools for different documents, and you can add all of those tools to only one particular agent, and you can give instructions over here. So you can tell the LLM to navigate from one agent to another when the user asks about that particular agent, right? So when it comes to flows, so here what you can do is, for example, now we have this data stores, right? But you will want to control a few set of stuff, right? So for example, I want to control the way if somebody is talking about say not just photosynthesis, somebody is talking about a science project that they want to do, or like or something related to project, like if I want to do projects, and you want to make sure you navigate to a controlled conversation. For example, you don't want AI to answer that, you want yourself to answer that. For example, like now you're providing information, but as a teacher, if you want a particular, like if you want your student to navigate to do a certain project, right? So you can go here and you can like start a route over here. So you can basically give intents by yourself, like you can train the intents. Like what are intents is basically, for example, if I'm talking about something related to say I want to, like like if I have an intent, right? Like say if I want to buy a shirt, or I want to do a photosynthesis project, or if I want to do a science project, these are intents, right? Now I am intending to do that. So we as a human can understand what we are intending to do, but if you want to control these conversations, and if you want the bot to understand, you need to train the bot, right? So how will you train it? By adding intents. So, for example, when you click for a new intent, you can have an intent name, right? Science project as an intent, right? So here you can go ahead and you can type training phrases like I want to do a science project, or let's do a science project, or just put science project, like just like that. Are there any science projects that you can do, that I can do? So you need to, like train the bot like this, like so that it will, what it will do is, according, it will basically match according to how you have given. If the user has typed something related to this, then it will match to this particular route. Now see how I will change, how I'll take this particular route to a flow where it will ask, it will basically create a controlled conversation, right? So for example, when a user asks like this, I don't want AI to answer, I want like the bot to answer according to what I am providing, like the exact answers that I am providing, right? So now I will save this intent, and I will create a route where I will be like, okay, let's say in this route, what you can do is you can create a description for this route. What this route will do, this will navigate to projects flow. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm completely controlling my conversation, right? So right now here we have added this, and then now this. So here, if we go here, we can have conditions also. If you have any conditions, you can add them also. But let's not talk about it. It will become too complicated. So now, what is fulfillment is, once that like once the agent identifies, okay, what like whatever user is saying, it has to respond something, right? So when it comes to that point, what kind of response that you want the agent to give, you can provide here. So now I will tell you reached the project section, let's go, or something, right? Now I want to connect this to a page or a flow, which will take me to a next section of the to that project section. Now what I will do, I will create a flow. So what I will teach you, what flow is, what page is, what playbook is. We have learned what playbook is, right? Over there you saw code interpreter and photosynthesis, right? Similar way you can add whatever playbook that you want. So you can add it like that here. But what is a flow? For example, let's say you're trying to create a complete educational bot. right? Now you will have multiple subjects, like you will have English, you will have social, you'll have science, you'll have multiple subjects, right? So when you have multiple subjects, you want to make sure that you have that you have a different section for every subject, right? In that you want to have different pages. Now what you can do is you can use flows to separate those sections. You can have one section for science, and one section for socials, one section for English, like that. And in English section or in science section, you can have one page for photosynthesis and one page for animal, like whatever, anything like that, one page for chemistry, like that. You can have a different flow, and in those flow you can have different pages. That's how deep you can go in this conversational agents, right? So that's how flows, pages, and playbooks work. So for now, let's talk about flows, right? Let's say if I'll add like a new flow where I will put this flow as project, okay? And then I'll save this. Now, can you see that there has been created a flow called projects? Now, when it comes to this project, I want to like it will be the same thing. Whatever you have in this default start flow, right? You can basically have all of them here. So here I will want to create routes, like add routes, and I'll create a route, like same thing, like I want to make sure that I have one specific route for one particular project, one specific route for another particular project. So for here, I will just put, for this, I will just add a new intent saying that photosynthesis can be one project, right? Now let's say let's create like photosynthesis. I want to create photosynthesis. I want to build, sorry. So let's say the student has mentioned something like this. Then it has to come to this particular intent, and then it has to respond to this particular route, right? Right? Like, so when you come here, then you can put like whatever agent wants to tell, like, okay, you reached, we can perform project. Here are the steps. And you can provide the steps here. So see, it will basically respond according to whatever I am telling, right? So like now I'll show you a small demo so that you will understand. Let's not, like, we can create a complete huge like conversational agents like this, but I don't want to go a lot deeper because we have less time for now. So over here I can just put and other dialogue just to like prompt the prompt the student to add more, like like to continue the conversation. Basically, I'll go here and add a text saying what project do you want to do or something. Okay, let's see how it works now, right? Let's publish the agent. Now I'll just put I want to do projects. See, it has understood the intent of the user, and it has gone to that particular route, right? Now we have, since we have gone to that flow, I will just put let's do photosynthesis. See, it has gone to that particular route where I have given photosynthesis, and whatever I have written over there, that's exactly how it is performing, right? Now let's just ask what is photosynthesis. Let's see if it also works from the playbooks, right? See, it's providing us from the playbooks also. So what did we do here, right? See, it might be very confusing of what I'm trying to teach you here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that, say you have multiple documents, right? But you don't want, you if you want to create like a complete hybrid agent where you want to make sure that the agent is giving answers from the document also, but when the user is asking something very important, like something that you want to make sure that you're giving structured answers, which is not like something that AI cooks up and provides, but it's exactly like verbatim. You want to provide exact answers, then what you can do is you can mix up the AI capability also, and also the and also using these flows and pages and all of that, you can make sure that you can control some parts of it. So this is how huge the Vertex AI agent builder can get. So you can create like a conversational agent which is not completely taken over by the uh, AI only, but you can also make sure that there are few parts of it where you can control the answers. Why is this important is, say you have you say you are creating agents to agents to say some healthcare department, or even banking departments, finance departments, and all of that, right? So imagine if they have provided you some documents and made sure that, okay, you can, for the generalized questions, you can use AI and make sure you use all this RAG architecture and make the AI provide answers. But if the user is asking about some policy documents, AI cannot cook up any kind of answers and provide. There shouldn't be any fault over there, right? All of these kind of aspects, you need to make sure that the answers are verbatim, like you need to make sure that the answers are exactly how you want them to answer, not AI providing. It's like giving, trying to understand and provide whatever it understood, right? So in these kind of places, you want to make sure that you provide some answer which is exactly given to the user. In these kind of areas, you can use these conversational agents, where you can create a hybrid agent between generative AI and all these flows and pages also. So now that I have asked about this, I'll just directly put I want to do projects or something. Okay, let's see if it understands. See, it was switched from generative AI part to normal agents part. So this is all something that we have given, right? Now again, it has gone to that flow, and if I put photosynthesis, which is the only thing that we have provided right now, if we do that, it will give us the answer. So you can make it more structured in, you can make it structured also for some particular aspects, and you can make leverage the generative AI aspect to create bots like this. So in this way, you can like make sure that you provide you have more, you explore this particular conversational agents. Why? Because while you're providing all of this, you need to make sure why you have been using a certain kind of tool. For example, if somebody asks you, why do you use playbooks and why do you use flows, what is the difference between playbooks and flows, right? Now then you can tell, for playbooks, I am using playbooks because I have added generative AI aspects for it. I have added generative AI tools, and I want playbooks. I want to make sure that these playbooks are used and according to that, my agent has to navigate from one flow to another, and you can tell, sorry, one playbook to another. And in this particular flows, you can tell them, like, why do you use flows? If they ask for that, if they ask you something like that, you can tell them that I use flows when I need structured answers, when I need to make sure that the answers are verbatim and they are not like, they're not something that AI generated. So in these areas I will use flows. Why are you doing this? You can give an example like this, saying, for example, if I'm providing a chatbot to a banking sector or to any sector where they want to use the AI ability, but when it comes to policies and all of that, they want to make sure that they are the answers that they're providing has to be verbatim. Then I can leverage this hybrid agents and make sure that I use playbooks and tools and provide them according to the requirements. So in this way, you can leverage this particular conversational agents and agent builder. Right? So when it comes to pre-built agent builders, like I showed you before, you can, whatever we did, they will have like a huge flows and all of that, which they've already created before. Let's see if we can add one. So if you have like a DMV agent, right, I'll show you when it created, how complicated can you create like an agent, how complicated can an agent get. Oh, I don't think this was the one. Okay. Okay, I'll just, this is basically the tools, like in the tools format, right? So see, they have like multiple playbooks here, right? So they have DMV steering, they have driver's license, they have book appointment, and they have fallback playbooks, right? So here, if you go and if you start, if you like, click on one playbook, it see how they have given the greetings, like, greet the customers, tell them you can help, with renewing driver's license and booking appointment and all of that. Now they have make sure that they have added playbooks here, right? See how they have added them as like different playbooks, like I mentioned, right? For each playbook you can use one kind of like, one kind of task or one kind of document, and you can add all of them into one agent, so that it will navigate from one agent or one playbook to another, and it will give us exactly how it, exactly to according to users requirements, right? So let's see how it works, right? Now it will give us booking an appointment, and whatever we try to do, like, try to give here, it'll ask. So let me, instead of this, I'll just publish it again so that you'll understand it better. So it will tell you, I can help you with renewing a driver's license or booking an appointment. So in these two, if you want to continue, let me know. So if I'll tell book an appointment. Okay, so like, these are the fallback answers that it will give, right? So let's try like a new session. So it's asking, so can you provide the address so that I can search nearby DMV offices for you? So all of that it will do. So that, because why? Because that's how they have given instructions here, right? So for booking appointments at local field offices, transfer to book appointment. For topics not related to above topics, transfer to fallback, and all of that, right? Let's see what's there in those for, like, all of these ones, right? So see over here, they have given instructions. Step one, collect the customer's information and verify them using this particular tool. And you can have step one, step two, step three. So it has given, this is basically prompt engineering, where they have done completely, they have given complete instructions of what it has to do, right? See how they have created multiple tools over here using OpenAI, where this particular tool will have a data store which will relate it to OpenAPI. So OpenAPI basically is like you can get data from outside using an API, and you can extract the data from that and use it here. So they have used multiple tools like this. So in this way, you can create complicated agents without having to know much of coding. So you can just like add and drag and drop, and you can start, if you follow few steps, you will be able to create agents like this. So this this is how agent builder works. And they have been yeah. So they have been upgrading this one by one. Like before, it was not conversational agents. Like they did not have this hybrid facility. You can either use generative AI or you can use like only the structured format. Recently they have opened this conversational agents, which is in preview stage, which is a very good like very like which is a very good tool, because you can basically now leverage both agent builder aspects and have a structured format. And a lot of people are using this now, because now that they now that they have solved this aspect of when it comes to few policies or something, where they don't want AI to be used, and in the creative aspects, those are the only places where they want to use AI. So Google has combined those both and made sure that people have hybrid agents also. So they are trying to improvise this agent builder day by day. This is a recent integration what they have done. So if you try to explore all of this and read their documentations, you will understand it more better. But as much as theoretically speaking, what you will have to know is why you're using playbooks, what are tools, what are data stores, how you can parse the use parsing techniques in these data stores. And all of these are the interview questions that you can get. And you can go as creative as possible, try to create small agents so that you will understand all the importance of all of these. And when you're trying to teach, tell them, when you're trying to answer in the interviews, you will be able to make sure that you provide more information, and you will make sure that you will provide in the hands-on format instead of theoretical formats, right? But you should know why you're using a certain tool. So that's the whole point of mm, this particular class, to show you that how from being that easy in the last in the last class, how complicated can you get with the conversational agents, how controlled can you get, and how you can navigate to one tool to another tool. You can do so many conversational aspects, and you can create a very good conversational bots using agent builder. So this is what I wanted to show for today. But then I will make sure that I know it might be more confusing to you, but I will make sure that I will teach you every aspect, and also show you we can do a small POC where we create a small agent with 2 to 3 tools, and how to do a hybrid agent and all of that, we can even perform that in future classes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Meghana.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to KKR Gen AI Innovations channel.